What's up, world? Coach Brian Hurst here with
Dre. Hi, guys.
from Fuel House 2.0 here in Seattle, Washington, with another edition of Remote Warrior Recap. Today's challenge, we are working with 2 kettlebells or dumbbells. Choose kettlebells if you got them. And an optional for a different kettlebell for your Turkish get-ups. So spend about 5 to 7 minutes getting your body loosened up however you see fit. Then we're starting with our movement prep. We've got 3 rounds of 3 movements. First one here is going to be 2 and 2 Turkish get-ups. Dre's getting set up here, owning each stage of the get-up. Since there's 2 Turkish get-ups per side here, you have 2 options. One would be to stay loaded on that right side. So as Dre comes down here, she's going to keep that weight overhead and then go into her next get-up. Of course, you can swap sides, do one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, however you see fit. But spending more time under tension has its benefits. So, second movement, we're going into a glute bridge with a leg extension, 8 per side. So, you can reset your hips each rep, or you can keep your hips high. Notice Dre is keeping her knees close together, so we're not lifting that leg, we're just extending the foot out long. For 8 per side. Then we're going into 5 and 5 single arm swings. This should be a weight that allows you to just hinge and plank, hinge and plank. It's not a whole lot of effort as far as moving the weight, so you should have good control, good form here early on. If you don't have a weight with you, then we're going to perform hinge jumps. Boom. Like so. Make sure that we're hinging, not squatting. Then, after your 3 rounds there, we're moving into our strength portion. We've got 3 rounds here as well. 3 more movements, look at that. So, first one is going to be a tall kneel, alternating single arm overhead press. And a mouthful. So, we're getting double rack here. You can be in this tall kneel position here. Notice that we are coming back to the rack position, owning the lockout, owning the rack, and then the other side goes. Or you can bring one of those legs forward into a half kneel position for a little more stability. The tall kneel is going to be very core-centric as it is not a very stable base. So, choose which one suits you best. Make sure you set yourself up for success. Second movement is going to be 8 to 10 suitcase deadlifts. So now the bells are on the outside. We've got a fairly narrow stance here, maybe about hip width. Finding that hinge, 8 to 10 reps. And then our last movement is going to be a double clean. Boom. Dre's keeping the bells close to her body. She's redirecting them with her arms, but breathing with her hips as we find that full hip extension. From there, we've got a couple options if you do not have weights at home. So instead of your tall kneel to overhead press, you can either do lat pullovers or bicep curls. So, and this is a good modification for going overhead or depending on the weights that you have. We all know bicep curls, right?
Just checking.
For our suitcase deadlifts, we can do glute bridges. Then for our cleans, if you're not doing those, we've got crawls or split squat jumps. So in that split squat stance, boom, switching legs. Either keep that back leg at a slight hover or gently tap it to the floor. Don't let that knee go crashing down. Then, for our finisher, we've got a Tabata style finisher. 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. We're going to complete 3 rounds per side. So you're doing all of these movements on the right, starting it off with a single arm push press. That little dip in the hips with a drive, strong glutes, try not to overgrip the bell handle. After 20 seconds, you have the option to bring it down into the rack and stay there for your 10 seconds of rest before going into a single arm racked march. Notice the nice slow controlled movements. We're not trying to rush through it. Then you're going into a single leg deadlift. Again, you can keep the weight in your hand the whole time before going into a single leg deadlift, hinging at the hips, loading up that front leg, and of course, a little kickstand there is good if not being total single leg load bearing.
Sweet.
Okay. Then we're going into a single-armed row. So from here, you can either stay in that deep lunge position from your single leg deadlifts, or you can be in the more of a wide sumo stance as Dre was first initiating there, or demonstrating rather. Boom. Many row options. Pick which one suits you best. Then we are going to finally put the bell down, if we haven't already. For our last movement is a hollow hold or a plank. So in this hollow hold position, we're reaching through the toes, reaching through the fingertips, squeezing our legs together, squeezing our butt, and remembering to breathe. So if this hollow hold is not a good option, you can flip over and do a plank. Trey is demonstrating the hardstyle plank there from the forearms. Couple options here. If you don't have weights at home, instead of a push press, you can do either push-ups or a floor press. Then we can do, instead of racked marches, we can do a bodyweight march, perhaps prisoner march, where hands are high over the head, or you can do high knees. Boom. Deadlifts. I think you probably got an object at home that you can deadlift.
Totally.
We're just finding that hinge pattern. Otherwise, finding some bodyweight hinges is a good option too. Last movement for your row, you can do a bodyweight plank row, or you can do bird dogs for your final movement there. Boom. Again, 3 sets per side, so we did 30 rounds of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Have fun, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.